Hey, what's up guys? Kyle Henris here with Next Door Trader. And in this video, I had a challenge. And the challenge was basically, can I break down all of my best trading information into a couple videos? So what we're gonna do is break it down into two parts. This is gonna be part one, where I'm gonna talk all about trader psychology. And then in part two, where we'll leave a link for somewhere in this video, we're gonna talk more on trading strategy and how you can put these things together to really get off to a fast start. So let's get into it. Kyle Henris here, and welcome to the channel. I've been trading for years on accounts ranging from a couple $1,000s all the way to $1 million plus. Now I run my own fund and really believe trading is the best skill in the world if you want to make some extra money from home in the fastest way possible. Problem is, there's a lot of bad trading info out there. We're on a mission to change that. That's why we're releasing all of my best content on this channel for free. We want your help to get it in the hands of as many people as possible. So each month we'll be giving away all of this channel's ad revenue to our top subscribers. All you have to do to enter your hat in the ring is subscribe and share the channel to as many people as possible. Let's learn and grow together. So trading psychology is probably the most important factor for being an average trader, being a trader that loses money, to going to a trader that is actually profitable. You can have the greatest strategy in the world, but if you don't have the right psychology, it's not going to work for you. Most traders fail, not because they have the wrong strategy, it's because they don't know how to execute it or they don't have the right mindset going into it. Having the proper psychology, the proper mindset is going to be a huge, huge factor in your success. But I think part of it comes down to understanding what that mindset is. And I think there's two key areas that you need to be prepared for if you want to be a successful trader. And the first is what I'll call readiness. And this comes down to being mentally and emotionally ready. When it comes from a mental standpoint, being mentally ready, all I mean is that you are open-minded enough to take action on learning something new. And you recognize that, hey, it's not going to be something that happens overnight, but it is something that you or anyone can learn. But you need to be ready mentally, be able to actually take action. Most people aren't action takers. And this sounds kind of harsh, so I'm just trying to be honest with you. What happens with most people is they have big goals, but when it comes time to actually taking action, actually opening their mind to what's possible, they go right up against a glass wall where they can see the vision on the other side, and they hit it and back off, and they move back to their safety zone. But if you want to be a successful trader, you need to mentally accept the fact that, hey, it might be a little scary at first, but that vision is there on the other side of that wall if you can mentally prepare yourself for the learning that needs to take place in order to get there. So you need to be mentally ready to take action. Now you also need to be emotionally ready. And when I say emotionally ready, I mean, once you get into it and you start trading, you're able to cope with things not always going 100% successfully. So I don't care how great of a trader you are never going to win 100% of the time. And you need to recognize emotionally how to handle that. You can't do stuff like revenge trade or get greedy on unprofitable positions. You need to emotionally put yourself in a place where you're almost robotic, where you're accepting of the fact that, hey, this is the way that trading's gonna go. I'm not gonna win 100% of the time, but if I stick with it and I have a good learning process laid out for me, I can be profitable and I can hit really, really big goals, but I need to emotionally put myself in a place where I can handle that. And some people struggle with it. Like, you have money in play and that's a hard thing, right? But if you wanna be successful, you need to be able to handle your emotions when it comes to that kind of thing. So that comes down to being ready. Just mentally, emotionally, you're ready to go. Second piece of trader psychology comes down to what I call acceptance. And acceptance really comes down to accepting the fact that you are not always going to win, but you can win over time if you just focus on the right things. Most traders are not willing to play the long game. They have something go wrong, they immediately try to make up for it, or they bounce to a different strategy. Acceptance comes down to knowing that, hey, you know what, it's not gonna go your way all the time. And that's okay. You can be an extremely profitable trader and lose a bunch. Like, you could lose 50% of the time, 40% of the time, 30% of the time, and still make a ton of money if you get the strategy part down. But you need to accept the fact that that's going to happen and that it's going to be a learning curve. And what will help with acceptance is a couple different things. One, being able to actually practice. So the more you can practice initially, the more you're willing to accept the fact that, hey, this is kind of the way trading is going to go. I'm going to lose some. As long as I win more than I lose and I follow good risk management rules, I'm going to make money, okay? This is part of the reason why our one-on-one students that come to work with us, we make them practice first. And they don't always like that because obviously you come in, you pay money to work with us, you want to make that money back as soon as possible, but we still force them to go through a practice phase because we want them to get in the game and feel what it's going to be like to have some trades go against them and make sure that we can coach them on how to respond to that. Because your ability to respond to things that don't go your way is going to have a great deal on how successful you're going to be. And what ends up happening is they may spend a couple weeks, a month of practice or trading on smaller sizes, and then they take off. They can scale really, really quickly because they've accepted the fact that, hey, you're not always going to win, but they're good at managing reward to risk, and they start making more money. Okay, so practice will help with that. And then another thing is I think it's helpful to put things into perspective. So I grew up in kind of a Catholic family, so this is going to be a church story, but it doesn't need to be related to religion at all. The story itself will still be helpful to you. And this is really the parable of the lost son. And the parable of the lost son goes a little something like this. So there's a father, and he has two kids. One kid was kind of, we'll call him a scoundrel. He went off and kind of wasted his inheritance and went into the city, did crazy stuff.
That's crazy.
Joe, that's been your answer every time I tell a story.
And ended up not having a great life for a while. The other son did exactly what he was supposed to. He did all the chores on the farm. He put in all the work, helped his family. And eventually what ended up happening is the lost son came back and the father welcomed him with open arms. And there's two kind of outcomes of that story. Initially, the lost son was in a position where he felt like he had to do all this other stuff to be happy, but everything he needed was right in front of him all along. And on the other end of that, the responsible son was a little bit jealous that lost son got this welcome home party, but then he recognized that, it's family and everything I had was right in front of me all as well. So the point of that story is to recognize that a lot of times, everything you need is already right in front of you. You don't need to chase crazy different strategies or constantly try to change what you do. And if you're already so I see this a lot with new traders where they're constantly trying to bounce around, try different things. They're trying to find the new shiny object, right? Rather than just recognizing that everything they need is in a single strategy right in front of them. And on the flip side of that, I see traders that have been trading for a while. They get a little bit jealous when new traders start making money, when all they really need to do is just keep staying in their lane and progressing on what they're doing, take things to the next level, and they're able to be super profitable as well. There's plenty of money to be made for everyone, but it comes down to accepting that this is the way that trading is going to be. And as long as I stick with a process, I have a system of rules to follow, then I can be really successful with it, and you can too. So that's really trader psychology and how you can use it to your advantage. Again, we'll leave part 2 of this somewhere on this video, a link for it, so we can dive deeper into strategy and how to focus on that as well to help you get started. But if you like content like this, be sure to like, share, subscribe to this channel. We give away all our ad revenue at the end of every month to our top subscribers because we want this information out there to help traders like you make more money. So we'll see you on the next one.